Contrary to popular belief, music taste is almost entirely subjective.
I don't care what everyone likes.
These were some of the most audience-commented omissions from both my Best of 2023 list and genre rankings, and we're starting with Contrarian with Sage of Shekhinah. This New York band are not only cool guys who like to keep in touch and send me rad t-shirts to wear, they also seem to have become a bit of a sleeper audience favorite. Clearly more influenced by classic acts like Death, Cynic, and Atheist and how they approach their songwriting, their compositions can be a lot to take in. But listeners will be rewarded with some great music when they start peeling back the layers. At times, right down to the production, tracks like In Gehenna sound as if they could have come right off of symbolic or individual thought patterns. Musicians and lovers of OSDM should in particular find a lot to love here, and if you do, let them know who sent you.
It was me. It was always me.
Then there's Sulphur Aeon with 7 crowns and 7 seals. I toyed around with including this album on a few different rankings, but ultimately it got sidelined. Despite that, I share everyone's love of these Lovecraftian blackened death metalers and their latest ode to the great old ones. What this band do best is combine an atmosphere of dark cosmic horror with eerie earworm hooks, and they've once more nailed that on this record. If I close my eyes, I can almost see eldritch terrors beyond description emerging from blasphemous portals in the sky. Once more, a perfect balance of death metal, black metal, and doom to herald in an elder god apocalypse. Then there's Moonlight Sorcery with Horned Lord of the Thorned Castle. Of all the recommendations for albums absent from my black metal ranking video, this was easily the most frequently and intensely commented one.
You fucked up.
I can't really explain how this slipped by me in September either. Avant-Garde Music even sent me the promo. Regardless, I see why so many people are raving about it between the powerful atmosphere and riffs. Just soaring epic stuff that doesn't forget it's also still supposed to be fast, grim, and menacing. Like take the synth elements of Emperor, the energy and riffage of Skeleton Witch, and as funny as it may sound, the killer epic soloing that feels like it belongs in like a Sonic the Hedgehog soundtrack sometimes. A worthy addition and one that easily could have made S tier on the ranking. If you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to hit the like button and comment more favorites below, and also if you want to support the channel more directly, you can do that at patreon.com/metaltrenches or become a channel member. But next up is Convocation with No Dawn for the Caliginous Night. Once more, I largely gave Doom the cold shoulder this year, but I have to give it up for this Finnish band who were among the most audience commented this year. Their sound is absolutely massive, with an already strong foundation of powerful, echoing death growls and menacing reverb-soaked guitars, but then also drifting Danny Elfman-esque backing vocals, bells, strings, and in general a production job that is utterly captivating.
I'm watching Edward Scissorhands.
I also find it pretty engaging and digestible with a more progressive approach to songwriting as opposed to monotonous, drawn-out repetition. And at just 48 minutes broken up over 5 very well-paced tracks, it moves along in a way I find very refreshing in the genre. Doom fans, you got me with this one.
Google, gobble, Google, gobble. One of us, one of us.
Then we have HissThrough with Endex. As far as the few modern industrial metal acts out there go, HissThrough is easily my most re-listened, and as sparse as the year was for industrial metal, I would agree with the votes that this was among the best. Everything that made me love groups like Nine Inch Nails, Rob Zombie, and Marilyn Manson in the 2000s is fully on display as if that sound never fell out of favor. Endex is a very well-balanced and consistently paced album, effectively fusing the more bombastic arena style they've developed over the years with the pure industrial skinny puppy-esque leanings of their debut. If you're new, I'd recommend starting with Merchant of the Void, Scorpion, or Acme Death Machine. Nice Tears for Fears cover too, and Mick Gordon's involvement certainly doesn't hurt either. Then there's Invent Animate with Heavener. Another record that somehow slipped by me this year despite it definitely falling into my wheelhouse when it comes to progressive metalcore. Honestly, despite having quite a few heavy hitters dropping albums in that genre this year, it's definitely among the best. Periphery 5 is definitely more unique and diverse, but this feels way more consistent. Very solid riffing that doesn't just get bogged down in the frequent boring binary grooves of djent. To the contrary, there's a great mix of super technical noodling, emotional melodic moments, and when it does djent, it does so with style. Add a really strong vocal performance and great songwriting overall, and this is definitely a must for core heads. And speaking of which, we also have Dying Wish with Symptoms of Survival. Possibly even more so than Invent Animate, this was likely the most commented omission from my Metalcore tier list. And considering they are from right here in Portland, I probably should have covered them, especially considering their obvious talent, as well as how well they tap into that old 2000s Metalcore sound that I love so much from my high school years. You have to understand, y'all, if I had my way, I would cover every album of all time, but there's only one of me, and I'm up against a constant losing battle. That said, this list has been a nice opportunity to do my best, and again, if you love classic-era metalcore, you're gonna dig this. And reminder that if you ever want more recommendations, Chris is always cranking out the written reviews over at metaltrenches.com.
But wait, there's more!
Then there's Terminalist with The Crisis as Condition. I wanted to include a thrash album that I overlooked, and it came down between this and Grave Ripper. Both great choices, but I think this one was a bit more impressive overall. This is very much thrash for fans of projects like Vektor that really lean into speed, technicality, and sci-fi imagery. It's basically thrash metal for prog fans and prog for thrash metal fans. Another nice bridge between two often very different worlds. The guitar work is dizzying and complemented by a particularly harsh vocal performance and a production job that's got a little bit more roughness around the edges that should also appeal to enjoyed my own Hellripper and Necropanther picks. Then we have Melancolia with HissThrough, RottenTeeth. So this was probably the most commented omission from the Deathcore tier list. I recall coming across this album around when it came out, but for whatever reason I didn't end up covering it. Regardless, these Canadians definitely make a case for being added to the top tier this year alongside Signs of the Swarm and To the Grave. I'd go so far as to kind of call them the Shadow of Intent of this year, both in that they incorporate some of the same atmosphere, and they also seem to have won over many hearts right from the start, with this being their very first record. It's always interesting to see which new names quickly rise to the top each year, and it makes me excited to see where they go from here. And then possibly the most commented pick overall is Entheos with Time Will Take Us All. Another album I really enjoyed this year that just didn't fit cleanly on any particular list. It's like equal parts technical death metal, progressive metal, metalcore, and deathcore all in one impressive package that, based on the comments, seems to be equally appealing to all of those different audiences. Naveen continues to flex his technical and progressive musicianship that made him an asset to Animals as leaders, while Cheney's syncopated screams continue to dominate, alongside some cleans too on tracks like Oblivion and I Am the Void. Absolute Zero is a total banger of an opener, seeming to fuse Meshuggah with Archspire and then moving seamlessly into the equally wicked In Purgatory and the Interior Wilderness. The entire album feels like the various movements of one singular but ever-changing composition, and it's great from start to finish and very nearly made my own top 15 list as well. Y'all check out this playlist for more of my favorite albums from 2023, or this one for me ranking them by genre. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the trenches.